Caroline, there's no intro this week
There's no intro?
because we're covering the unquotable, the forgettable, the under the radar, highest grossing movie of all time, Avatar.
I don't even know a theme song to hum for this one, so you're right.
And this is episode 54 of the Elbow-Nudge podcast.
Yeah, episode 54. Wow, I can't believe we're like 50. Wait, 54?
54, yes.
Okay. You're right. Yeah, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That took a while. Man, we're at
Don't
50.
worry, I'm counting. It's all up here.
I'm more shooketh that we're at 54. That's such a high number. But okay, look at us.
This is the third week of December
Yeah.
as
Yeah, it
well. This is our third Christmas movie that we're covering.
is. It's
All
a
right,
very
let's just lay
special
it
week.
all out there. Let's lay it all out there.
It's a very special week.
We're recording ahead of time. I think this is going to be important knowledge,
You're right.
right?
Yeah, you're right.
So when this episode comes out, Avatar: The Way of Water will be released
That's
already.
right. Mm-hmm.
And it's very possible we would have seen it.
We will definitely see it.
By the time this episode comes out, I'm not sure, but it's very possible we would have seen it by the time it's also released.
I believe if my plans are correct, we are going to see it the day this episode comes out.
Okay. All right, so this is all very exciting. This is why we're doing this episode. I'm very excited to see what James Cameron has in store for us with The Way of Water. But we have no knowledge of it. Especially
None.
me. I'm avoiding everything about it.
Yes, you are.
Except for his quotes. I love his quotes. I will not be
Everything
whining.
James Cameron has said about this movie.
I agree with.
Yeah.
I will not be whining about the runtime. I'm going to make sure I'm dehydrated 6 hours before the theater.
I thought we were going to go out
I
for
will
lunch
not be
before.
getting up. I will fast before this movie so I cannot miss.
Oh, no. You're going to be all dry while we're watching the movie.
My lips are going to be chapped.
Parched. Exactly. Cut to me crunching and slurping on a slushie.
I'm going to shush you. I'm going to ask you to quiet down. I'm trying to focus on this masterpiece.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I'm going to bring, because I think it's kind of related. Around the time of like Infinity War and Endgame, people were bringing up this topic on Reddit and like YouTube and stuff, where they'll say, guys, I'm nervous. What if I have to go to the bathroom during this movie? and I felt that worry. I felt it. It's true. What if you have to go to the bathroom? You don't want to miss a single second. And I think it's something you never have to worry about. But if you think about it, then it gets in your head. It's like, oh, I think I do have to go to the bathroom.
Exactly. I am a firm believer in that if you're worried about it, you're gonna like manifest it in you, like especially when it comes to the bathroom. I think that sometimes bathroom can be a little bit of a psychological thing, just a little bit. Because if you're thinking about it a lot, then that's like, oh, now I do have to go. But like I've sat through long movies, Lord of the Rings, even like Man of Steel was long. Oh my gosh, and that felt long. And
I don't remember it being that long.
It felt long, but I know, like I sat through Lord of the Rings. I sat through the first Avatar.
You sat through Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I did, yeah, and I don't think
we
was
didn't
there
pause.
An intermission? Yeah, we didn't pause.
We didn't pause.
So like, I think maybe I asked you for one bathroom break. I think it was like, how many parts are in Zack Snyder?
6.
I think part 4. I asked you for a bathroom break.
Oh, okay.
But that's because I know I'm at home and I can.
Yeah.
When I'm in the theater, I'm in a theater mindset.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. And I actually will just go if I have to go. I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest.
You say that, but
it depends on the movie.
I fully believe that you are going to fast and not use the restroom on that day.
Whatever we eat that day, I'm just going to like put it in my bag or something.
You're going to wear cargo shorts and then stuff it in your pocket.
Big, deep cargo pockets. You're going to see just like wide curves on my back. Like, guys, that was delicious. Are we ready to go?
Wow, Tony, your tray or your plate is impeccably clean. It's like you didn't even touch your food.
It's like you just swiped it all off in one fell swoop. Is that what you did?
And why is your pocket so
Leaking.
stuffed?
Why is there a pasta stain?
Tony, you know they have to go boxes here, right?
You should have told me sooner. Why do you smell like spaghetti? Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti. All
Also,
right.
by the way, you haven't even ordered your drink. What's going on here, man?
All right, let's move on. Stop
Yeah.
giving away my plans for this movie day. All right, but yeah, we're recording ahead of time.
We are recording ahead of time. hmm I have a question for you about this movie
Yeah.
and Avatar 2 as well.
Okay.
I want to put forward here, I am not a huge fan of this, but you are, right?
Oh, I'm very happy you said that. We're gonna have a
Yeah.
great conversation.
It's been on my mind a little bit that this is a movie series that you're passionate about, and I'm a lukewarm Avatar enjoyer.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, all right,
All right. So yeah, let's start there. Do you want me to explain my story with this?
yeah, I do, I really do.
All right. I've never seen this movie in theaters. I missed it. So there's
Well,
one. Yeah, and I know the big deal is watching it in 3D and on a big screen. Was IMAX even a thing in 2009? Probably.
hmm
All right, watching it in
I saw
IMAX.
it IMAX 3D.
Oh, you saw the actual experience.
I saw the way James Cameron intended it. Yeah.
Wow, okay. I saw it at home maybe a couple years later and I loved it. I thought it was so good. And then I didn't really think nothing of it. I just thought, it was another movie I really liked. And then I saw it many years later. I don't know how old I was, but just a lot of time in between. And then I just revisited the movie. And I remember I was in New York. It was like a vacation I took to New York.
hmm
And I saw it again, and a lot of time has passed. And it's to the point where I'm like, I barely remember it and don't really remember all the big plot points. But I saw it again. And this was after the conversations of, like, oh, how is this the highest grossing movie of all time? Nobody talks about this movie. Nobody remembers the characters' names. Nobody quotes this movie. It hasn't made an impact on pop culture at all, really. And all of that is true. So I'm watching it again and I thought, like, you know what? It's true because I forgot about it. But man, it's just a really good movie. When I saw it again, I thought it's just really, really good. And we're gonna go into it, but yeah, that's what I thought at the time. And then I think for this episode, it was my third time watching it, maybe fourth time. I don't know if I missed one, but I pretty much thought the same thing. I thought this was just a very well done, solid movie. And this time around, I even thought like, okay, there's a lot that you can expand on this, and I know why Disney is banking on it so hard now. And that's it. And we'll get into it some more. But what do you got? What's your experience with this movie?
I originally saw it. I don't know how old I was, but I did see it in theaters, IMAX 3D, and that was the only time I had ever seen it. That just yesterday was the second time I've ever seen the movie.
Whoa. Okay.
And I didn't particularly enjoy it when I watched it the first time. Not that I disliked it. There are and I'll get into it I think in more detail as we go through the episode, but just to give a little bit of a preview. It had what would I call it? When I first saw it, I thought it had style but no substance. Like it's a beautiful movie to look at, but I thought, the story, the characters, it could have been better, and yada yada. That was my first. You know what? I gotta know. How old was I in 2009?
2009. Check it out.
Because that also like checks out my frame of mind and things like that. I was 14. Okay, I was a young,
Movie
what I could
goer.
say, like oblivious. Yeah, I was a young moviegoer, just enjoying life before the real teenage years like hit. Because 14, you're a young teenager. And I thought it was okay, but I even remember like my parents didn't like it. A couple of my friends didn't like it. They complained that it was too long and
Hey,
yada
hey,
yada.
hey.
And when
All right, go on.
it I know. But Tony, I gotta tell you, when I saw it yesterday, I liked it. I was I was enjoying it. I gotta be transparent with you. I was playing Genshin
I
Impact while it
know
was
you don't
on.
watch movies with all
Like
your
I was
attention. I know
I,
that.
most I do. I do.
No,
And
you
I do.
don't.
I do. I do. And the
I'm gonna
only
take your
reason
phone when we
I
go see
like I
Way
was
of
playing
Water.
Genshin Impact. No, no, don't take my
Yeah,
phone. But I was playing the new like card game mode on Genshin Impact. So that's not like action. It's just like so here's what ended up happening to me. I started up this card game mode and you're playing like other people, you're dueling. You know, it's time to did a duel, but in Genshin. And I'm like going and I'm playing and then I'm looking at the movie. Like my iPad's down here, the movie's up here on my TV in my line of sight. So I am watching the movie, but it's just halfway in, and this started to become gradual. I would time out of the card game because I would be looking at the movie, and the card game gives you like a time limit for how long it takes to make a decision, or else it makes one for you, and you kind of get into this like auto game mode. But I ended up staring at the movie and just slowly but surely, like, I would go back and be like, "Oh, that's right, I need to make my card decision." And then I look up and I would be looking at the movie. And then I'd be like, "Oh, that's right, I got it." Until finally, I think halfway through the film, so it's, like an hour and a half in with an hour and a half to go. I was like, "You know what? Let me just put the card game away. Let me watch the movie." And with that being said, the first two-thirds of the film are I think the no, I need to put this better. I love that in the beginning of the movie, we jump straight into it. Like it's already showing everybody going to Pandora. We're not wasting time with like just to compare it to like Pacific Rim because Pacific Rim starts with a similar plot of like Guy's brother who trained for this purpose dies. So since Guy fits his DNA profile, he takes his spot, even though he's unqualified and untrained, kind of thing. Like, but in Pacific Rim, if you compare the way those two movies are done, Pacific Rim spends the first like 30 to 45 minutes introducing us to like flashbacks and backstories about main guy with his brother and then and then it takes a while before we get into like him getting into the robot kind of thing, whereas Avatar knows we want to see Pandora, we want to see what we're here to see, like
Navi.
we want to see the alien, we want to see the Navi. We want to see the new world. And so that those montages in the beginning are just quick. And so I was already like, all right, I like this. I like that we're getting into it. But it's kind of a little bit of a snooze fest until he enters his avatar. Once he enters his avatar, I was all in. I was like, I'm actually enjoying this. I'm liking this part.
Oh man,
The part
interesting.
that
Okay.
I love, the part that I really liked, and this is what made me like drop Genshin for Avatar, was when he joins Neytiri and just starts learning. And you get that like really cool montage of scenes where he's just learning to be a Navi. I adore that part. And then it all came crashing down for me when the liar revealed story came out because I think I've talked multiple times about how I'm not a fan of that plot line story. And he's not really like a liar, but it is like the I helped them and I told them about the infrastructure of the tree or
Yeah.
whatever. And then they're like, "We trusted you." And I was like, that is the part where I was like, this is one of the reasons why I don't like this movie. But you know what? That didn't like end as my opinion because that last third of the movie, I was leaning forward. I was all in. And by the time the movie was over, I had this like flutter in my chest and I was like, can it be that I'm excited that I saw this movie and for the sequel?
So
What?
now you're excited for the sequel.
I am very excited for the sequel.
All right.
This viewing for the podcast and everything, like I started off like, disinterested and just kind of like, all right, watching it for the pod. And I ended it like, that was a good movie. Wow. I liked that.
All right. Well, I'm happy to hear that, first of all. And there's a lot of things that you said that I want to
You
bring up.
you said that like a therapist. Like, I could picture you on the chair, like, writing that down. You're like, "Alright, I like that. I'm glad you told me that."
First of all, let's start with the liar revealed. Now we know why
The
Disney bought up
liar
this movie,
revealed. Ugh,
because every decom
yeah,
revolves
yeah,
around this
the
plot
liar
device,
revealed.
the liar reveal.
Mm. It's in a lot of their movies. It's Mulan, Atlantis. That's another movie I feel like this movie inspired. Or
Atlantis.
wait, did I what came out first? Atlantis or Atlantis did come out first. This movie is very
This
Atlantis.
movie is very everything, as we know. There's
Yeah, we
nothing
gotta
unique
talk
about
about
it,
that
as
later.
we already know.
Except the fact that they're blue people.
Not even the name is unique. There's another very
Avatar.
popular brand of this name.
Water.
Yeah.
Air.
You know, when we were planning to do this episode, because we knew Way of Water was coming out a while ago, I was so
Hmm.
ready to defend this movie so hard. Like, guys, movies are like
I
other
yeah, uh-huh.
movies. Of course they're gonna have similarities, but after watching it again, I just feel like if you see this movie and you think it's just like copying other movies, that's fine. I see this movie as so unique. So unique. I love so many things about it. But
You know what though? And I was fully ready to come into this episode being like Tony, like Atlantis did it better or
Atlantis
Pocahontas
did it
did it
first. Pocahontas did it first.
and first and better. Like I was ready to be that way. But you know what? I'm gonna defend you and this idea
James
a little bit
Cameron.
here. James Cameron has a way of getting those ideas and packaging them to where it feels original. I don't know if that makes sense, but he did it differently.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. This is all right. I don't want to spend a lot of time defending it, but this is the comparison I made to you. If you watch a romance movie, you've seen them all. You know,
Yeah,
they're gonna get together,
yeah.
they're gonna have a conflict in the middle, but it's just about how they do it. You know, if you watch a sports movie, it's really about just seeing them win or lose in the end, but you're gonna see training montages, whatever, motivational speeches. It's the same thing. If you see a Marvel movie, you've seen them all. They're gonna save the
If you
day.
watch a musician's biopic, you've seen
They're
them
gonna
all.
do loads of drugs. You know, they're gonna start at the bottom and then work their way
Yeah,
to the top.
started at the bottom, now we're
Yeah,
here.
but it's just about what the differences are along the way. This is the same example here.
But James Cameron, it's the equivalent of writing an essay because you're citing so many sources, but the point is you're making it your own. Like that's what he did. And you know what? I really liked that when I was looking into this movie for this episode. He cited his sources. He talked about all the inspiration he had for this movie, the books he read, the stories that he was influenced by as a kid, the movies that he took inspiration from. Like he was very upfront, like, yeah, I used them as inspiration. But when you're watching this movie, he like packaged it in such a great way that you're like, that's a Cameron movie. This is even like the opening. I love that the militariness in the beginning, it feels like aliens. Like not that it feels like aliens in the sense of like,
I know what you
like
mean.
the
There's like an aesthetic.
thriller, but he shot it with the aesthetic and the same shots like you would for aliens. And so it doesn't actually feel like Fern Gully, Pocahontas, all these things. It feels like a James Cameron movie throughout it, and that's what's the most important part.
It's very good, Caroline. I think it's very good. And it doesn't need defending.
I'm I'm jumping on this Avatar train a little bit. You're conducting it, but I'm like in the caboose. Like, yeah.
All right, it's all good.
Like,
But I did want to say, I'm going to ask you this because honestly, I didn't really. I also saw this with like crazy allergies last night. So I'm trying to.
he saw this high on NyQuil
No,
in
I slept the
Claritin.
whole day and I woke up like 8 p.m. and I'm like, oh, dang, I got to watch this movie. And then I also had to give myself an intermission. It was very long. I'm not whining, but I had to, because I was suffering. But all right, the lie revealed. So we know Sully has to eventually say like, "Hey, I was helping," blah blah blah. But here's what I don't get: they call them the Sky People, so they
Mhm.
know that they're aliens to Pandora. I think they even
Right.
know that they're occupying this avatar. Well, no, this Navi body.
Yeah, they call him a dream walker.
Yeah. So I just didn't really get if they explained enough of that, or maybe I missed it. But they just allow them into their culture, knowing that they're sky people, knowing that they're aliens to Pandora, and they're not really
Um,
Navi.
no, they don't. That was like a thing that the father was saying when Neytiri brought Jake to them. He said like he's one of the dream walkers. Like we can I think he even called him like a demon or something, but like he said I can smell the like the human still in him, and
Yeah,
they're not welcomed here. The only one that was like welcomed was Grace because
she was teaching.
was she was teaching them. So like they had a school for them and everything, but all the other avatars, I call them avatars
Because
because like they're
yeah,
the dream
and
walkers.
that's what
Yeah,
Avatar
that was like
means. Like you're whatever's
yeah,
representing
you're,
you or whatever.
it, it's like a Hindu thing where it's like it's another like thing that you're, yeah, you get it. It's like an avatar in a video game. And so like that was like a thing that was stated in the, I want to say in the part where they bring Jake to the chief, where he's like, no, he's a dream walker. They'll never be one of us. Like he's even Neytiri said like you can't teach, like you can't fill a cup that's already full. That's why that they're not
Yeah, my
accepted
cup is
into.
empty.
Yeah, I loved that part. I like that part a lot. But
Well, I got that part. I guess I was just asking you more specifically. I guess I'm surprised that they ever accepted them because they know that they're not real Navi, and they're literally made from human DNA and Navi DNA.
well, like you can tell they're just like they're disgust from them from the beginning. The only reason they let Jake in was because Awa like gave a sign,
Oh
and
yeah,
it took like all of these things for them to be like, okay, we need to accept him because our God is telling us to accept him.
and that's also very interesting. A human, a human
Yeah,
was selected as the chosen one or whatever.
I feel like that. When did Dragon Age Inquisition come
Oh,
out?
here we go.
That's like a plot in Dragon Age Inquisition where because there's like a god in Dragon Age, but the god is like the god of the humans, and then there's like elves, dwarves, all these other species. And the story is they say like, oh, the maker is the one who, because like in the main character, you can choose their species, and if you're a human, it makes sense because you're like, oh, the maker picked you to be the like the savior or whatever of this like certain plot. But if you're like an elf or a dwarf or insert other species here, they're like the maker picked a dwarf to be the savior. Like, how does that make sense? Okay, it came out in 2014. You're safe, Cameron. You're safe.
All right. So they were
But
copying Avatar. Now we know.
they were copying
These are the order
Avatar.
of
Yeah.
events.
But it is interesting because and I remember I read a Twitter thread, and it was about how how do I put it without making it sound woke? Um,
I'm interested.
Either way.
Go on.
Like the anti-feminist movement in film is how the woman like, and it compared the Lego movie and Avatar, how the guy with no training will take over the important spot over the girl who's been like training her whole life for this moment. So like Neytiri is like the chieftain's daughter, and she's the ready to like lead, and she has the trust of her people. She's been raised in this life, but Jake Sully, the human, comes in and he's able to like tame that Taruk Makto, and he's able to lead, and he gains the trust of everybody. And like in the Lego movie, it's like what I can't remember his name, but Chris
Chris
Pratt is
Pratt.
the
Yeah.
master builder and not the girl. And like I remember reading a thread like that, but that comes back around to they, he, Awa really favors Jake Sully
Yeah.
he because he wasn't going to be accepted, and so many times he was like kicked out of the tribe. Like he was kicked out, I think like 3 times for being like no.
That's
He's
interesting. Yeah, we won't get stories
it's
like this anymore. I guarantee you the way of water would not be like this.
the way of water is going to be I don't know, it is James Cameron. James Cameron tells what James Cameron wants to tell.
Say the whole quote. I know you know it.
I don't. Can you
All right.
can you say it?
James Cameron does what James Cameron wants because James Cameron is James Cameron. Not my quote. That's the internet.
That's the internet, but you ghost wrote that, right? In
No,
some
I thumbs it
Reddit
up when I saw
forum.
it for sure. I'm like,
You
I
like
agree, 100%.
we need to give you something to say, so while you're doing that, I can look up all the James Cameron quotes around this movie because they're gold.
Okay. We need to give you something to say. Just say a lot of filler words. Well, I was gonna say what you were saying. I think it is like a trope, isn't it? Like I don't know what it's called, but like the chosen one trope. It's in a lot of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
young
Like the
adult, like young
Matrix.
adult books, and yeah, Matrix. Like somebody who's inexperienced, typically a young guy, I guess, and then they come in and they're the chosen one. You know, they're the ones who are they're going to save the world or save a group of people or whatever. And yeah, this definitely falls into that trope. But I'm okay with it, and I want more of
Of
it
course you are, because you're a man. I
because
was just
James
playing, by the
Cameron made this.
way. I'm just playing, by the way, guys. Do not take that seriously.
I'm taking it seriously. I'm hurt, but I'm
No,
gonna
no,
try to
no, no,
move
no.
on.
Are you gonna mansplain to me this
Oh
movie?
my gosh, we're already going down this.
It's okay. I found the I found the quotes I wanted to find.
All right, what are the quotes around this movie or The Way of Water?
um, The Way of Water,
Okay,
but also, I mean, around this movie, I don't remember any like stellar quotes, but I love the way James Cameron has been talking about Avatar leading up to The Way of
me
Water.
too.
Because where is it? Oh. He said here we go. Cameron confesses that this is, by the way, just to cite my source, from a interview that he did with Vanity Fair, where he talked about how he clashed with studio executives at 20th Century Fox over Avatar's runtime. This is the original Avatar. Um, and the amount of flying around on the Ikran. Cameron's response was to play the Titanic card, invoking his 1997 $1.8 billion box office movie. He said, and that's the place where I just drew a line in the sand and said, you know what? I made Titanic. This building that we're meeting in right now, this new $500 million complex on your lot, Titanic paid for that. So I get to do this. And afterwards, they thanked.
I heard no lies.
I feel like it's one of those like, and everybody stood up and
Yeah, he
clapped.
definitely.
Like,
This is from his point of view. And then if you ask the
this is one of
producers,
those.
they're like, "Yeah, Cameron, you could do it however long you want, whatever."
We just told him to shorten the flying scene for like 2 minutes because it was like we went from 10 minutes to 8 minutes. That's all we
Yeah,
wanted. But he put his he brought the script of Titanic and slams it on the table, and we said, "Okay, James,
you remember
okay."
this? You're here because of
this paid
this.
this paid for your paychecks. You went on vacation
You
because of
made
this.
everyone's career with that movie.
And afterwards, they thanked me, and everybody stood up and
The whole
clapped.
boardroom started clapping. They all apologized.
He said, I feel that my job is to protect their investment, even against themselves. As long as I protect their investment, all is forgiven.
You really think it's so.
He knows what's up. He
This
knows
guy's
what's
a
up.
genius.
This is your Hayao Miyazaki. He's James Cameron.
Hayao Miyazaki's my Hayao Miyazaki. He says, "I believe anime was a mistake," and I agree. My role models,
Yeah, Hayao Miyazaki, James Cameron.
Tom Cruise.
I love how the article then goes on to say Cameron was right, as Avatar would go on to gross more than $2.8 billion after its December 2009 debut. Wow.
Is this a quote that Cameron said?
This
Cameron
is,
was right.
hey, this article was written by James Cameron.
Author James Cameron.
It was not still. That's so
Cameron
funny.
was right. All right, then finish it off with the whining one. That's my favorite one.
I'm trying to find the one where he says whining, but I do have the one where he says, where is it? Oh yeah, the director spoke out against. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I found the whining quote. Let me just let it load. Oh, I don't want anybody whining about the length when they sit and binge watch television shows for 8 hours. I can almost write this part of the review. The agonizingly long 3 hour movie. It's like, give me an break.
Uh-huh.
I've watched my kids sit and do 5 1 hour episodes in a row. Here's the big social paradigm shift that has to happen. It's okay to get up and go pee.
Thank you, James Cameron. You hear that, guys? He said we can go pee. It's fine.
He also said anytime they want, they can see the scene they missed when they come see it again.
I forgot about that part. That's how you get the repeat viewers in theaters.
Exactly. This is why people are going to go see Avatar like 3 times.
That is true, though, and we've spoken about this where you're looking for something to watch on Netflix. You can't decide what to watch. You're also considering the time, like, oh, I don't want to sit through a whole movie, and then it's like, oh, whatever. Then you go to YouTube and you watch 5 hours of YouTube videos.
I feel like you called me out. That's what I did last night. I was like, I don't want to watch like a whole movie right now. I just want to like continue to play Genshin Impact and then slowly go to sleep. So I put on a
Exactly.
podcast that was like 3 hours long, and then it auto played into the next one, and I was like,
And you
oh,
took no
okay.
breaks in between.
I took no, yeah, no potty
Yeah.
breaks. It's just straight.
So James Cameron, I'm telling you, he knows his stuff.
But this is that thing though with the psychological thing is that when I'm lying down in my bed, I don't think I can't go pee. I think it's when you're in the theater and you think like, all right, I can't go pee. That like makes your body want to go pee.
I think for me, it's more like, do I have to go? And then you kind of just summon the
Just
pee.
questioning
Yeah,
yourself.
it kind of just arises in you. It's like, yeah, I think I gotta go.
For me, it's the forbidden aspect. It's like you absolutely can't go pee in this 3 hour time span, and then it's like, great, I gotta
Yeah,
pee. We're gonna have to do in the theater. We're gonna have to do like a bathroom check, like make sure everybody goes before.
I told you my plan. I'm set.
I'm talking about our other
Yeah,
friends that will be
I'm gonna
joining
recommend they
us.
do the same. No eating or drink
We gotta
six
make sure that
hours
we sit.
before.
We gotta make sure that we sit the way that the seating is set up. I don't want anybody walking in front of me. So I'm trying to figure out how do I sit to where somebody's not gonna be like, excuse me,
You
excuse me,
know,
excuse me.
if you sit in the front row, no one ever walks in front of
No,
you
no,
there.
no, 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 no. I'm stopping you
Literally,
right
no
there.
one
That's not
walks in
gonna
front of you.
happen. That's
I'll
not
tell
gonna
you
happen.
what.
We're not doing that. We're not
I'll tell
doing
you
that.
what.
Tony, not everybody is a giant like you who can just casually
You're like
crane their neck up a
really
little bit
overstating my
and
height.
then
I think I'm just a
I,
very average person. This is the second time on the podcast where you just think, yeah, I'm a very normal height. But all right,
in comparison to me, where I would have to crane my neck
let's
up
talk
quite a
about
bit
Avatar again.
if I was to sit in the front row. I'm just, it's not that
All
comfortable.
right, understood.
But yeah, let's get back on subject because I feel like we spend a lot of time talking about things about the movie and not the actual
Yeah.
movie. Okay, let's go back into
All
this.
right. I have a question.
Go.
What does unobtainium do?
You're so right. What does it do?
It's worth
I just assume,
millions.
is it like vibranium?
I think it's like
Is it like
vibranium. It better be to be that expensive.
is it Kevin Feige watching this movie in 2004? Write that
He
down. Write
just
that down.
released Iron Man. Then he sees Avatar the next year. He's like, hold on a second. Jotting this down for Black Panther.
For Cap,
For Cap,
Captain
yeah. No,
America.
well, Black Panther is when you find out that vibranium could do
It's like
anything. It's like an
yeah,
energy
but like
source. It's a metal. It's a
Cap is like when they introduced it because it's like this is made out of vibranium and like
yeah,
they pull out the shield.
yeah. That's true. But Black Panther is when it got super like yeah, super magical.
Mm-hmm.
It could be
That's why
clothing.
they're
It
like
could be
technologically
yeah, it's
advanced.
clothing. It's technology. It shoots up holograms. It makes medicine. It does everything.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, that's a different movie. So what does it do and why is it so valuable? I have no idea.
It's that. It's exactly what we said. I'm pretty sure like the movie is kind of cliche, but in a good way. It's cliche to where it's very easy to infer a lot of these things. Like even the it's like, wait, why are they destroying the great tree? It's like, oh, corporate greed, duh. Like that's the cliche, is that
That's what I
our
like.
you like it?
That's what I like, yeah. And I feel like that's what people call out that is like too tropey. But
Mhm.
there's a level of simplicity that you need to make a like bigger universe, I guess. Because
Mhm.
this could have been there's a lot of points that I want to talk with you about. Like this takes place in the year 2154. You know, the space travel that they've done, the genetic coding that they've done with the Navi and stuff. All of that could have been like complete book series and movies, but they focus on a very simple story. It's like, hey,
You're right.
military, guns, bad, nature, good. And they expand from there. It's like, oh, this is easy to follow. Yeah. They're destroying people's homes and a beautiful network of trees and foliage and everything that lives. It's like, all right, I could get behind this. I could follow that very easily. And people even credit Top Gun Maverick for being like, it's just very simple story, and that you could just latch onto. I think you need that to not lose an audience and to stay invested. So I give it credit for that.
I hadn't thought of it like that, but when you put it into words, that does make a lot of sense. Because if you were to start getting into the nitty grittiness of it, of latching onto these some little sub details that are given to us, yeah, those can be pretty big deals. But Avatar was a good story to follow through. Like it was easy to follow, and it's not so much about what the story is, it's how the story is told.
Exactly right.
And this movie did a good job of doing that.
Like, can I start with this first one here? So I forgot. This is they're literally living in like a cyberpunk Earth.
They are, yeah. It didn't really hit me. It didn't really hit me until towards the end of the movie when who was Jake talking to when he said
There's no green.
like yeah,
There's
there's
no
no
green. I
green.
wrote that
They
down. Yeah.
they killed their mother.
Yeah. Mother Nature.
That's when it hit me where I was like, "Oh, are they living like in a post-interstellar Earth?"
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Is like if they wanted to, and it's very possible for Disney. I don't know for James Cameron if he wants to, but they can make this another Marvel or Star Wars. This could be a
I mean,
universe if you wanted to.
did you did you see the did you
I know
see
there's
the
four more
thing where
sequels on the way, and I know there's a theme park.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think that we're already there.
I don't know if James Cameron wants to. Like, I'm thinking like it could literally be Star Wars where they explain every little thing. Like there could be prequels. Like there could be stories of
Oh.
Earth, cyberpunk Earth, you know, before Pandora. And then the one I was going to bring up is the trip that they take from Earth to Pandora. That could be a whole story in itself because that is a
Oh, like the first landing on
yeah,
Pandora.
it's so interesting because they're
Whoa.
studying these plants, they're studying the people, they're studying the trees, they're studying the animals. Like everything is if you're a researcher, this is mind blowing. Like everything is new.
What's that line that the I wrote it down that the colonel says? If there is a hell, you might want to go there for some
Yeah.
R&R after Pandora.
And I didn't even have to mention it. You mentioned it too.
We can confirm this is not hell.
Is worse, according to the colonel. But I was gonna say the information that they gave us. Sully says that it was less than a year, no, less than a little under 6 years, to fly from Earth to Pandora. Like he was asleep that long. They keep them all asleep
Wow.
and like on a feeding tube and things like that, or whatever
Mhm.
the IV.
Cryo
Yeah, cryo
chamber,
chamber,
whatever.
and it's like that whole thing could be a story on its own. Like the technology to get up to that point where they have interstellar travel, and then the stories of like planning their flight, who's being selected to go over there, why are they going over there, who's worthy of studying Pandora and getting on Pandora, and also along with that, the it could be a whole story of how they created the Navi, their human and Navi DNA avatar.
Yeah, that's something that even now my brain's a little bugged with that because how isn't like I'm wondering, isn't that a person? Like if you're growing a Navi in this tube, isn't it a person? But no, it's them.
Like, does it have its own soul or its own
Yeah,
life?
yeah. Exactly.
That's a good
Like,
question. I didn't think of.
wouldn't it be its own person? Like its own decisions, brain, soul, and so I was sitting there like, and that was in the back of my mind. And even when I finished the movie, I was like, how do you do that? You know, like I still don't, I can't wrap my head around it.
Right? That's the point I didn't even think about. I love that you said that. Because it should be its own conscious person. Because they have a brain, they have the nerves, they have everything,
They
the
have
limbs,
everything.
and yeah, nervous system to live. But it's
Hmm.
only, and that's the other thing, explaining the technology. How do their minds connect? How do you transfer from one body to another with their technology?
With that, I feel like I can write that off as future science plot.
Oh yeah. Well, this is what I'm saying. If it stays basic, like all you got to know is, hey, when he gets in here, he goes into the other body. Oh, okay,
The only
perfect.
thing I can think of is maybe, and this is just using movie future fake science logic, is that they map the brain and maybe try to recreate your
The
brain,
exact pathways.
the exact pathways, the neurons and
Hmm.
everything in the Navi, so that way when your consciousness transfers, it's going to the same type of brain. I don't know, something like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They don't have to explain how, but if they want to expand this into a universe, they could
They
explain
could
how. Yeah,
explain.
but that's what makes this movie
Yeah,
work. You don't have to explain it. It's just like, hey, this is what happens.
this is your avatar.
And I think that's so cool. It's like, this is what I love about movies. It's like when not all of it is explained, you have to think about it and then just,
Hmm.
kind of imagine what's going on in the background.
Also, what's going to happen to Jake's body now that, for the end of the
Oh, that's
movie?
just gonna become dirt.
Just bury him. Bye.
Yeah, it's just gonna decompose. That's it. It's going with AWA. Yeah. So here's another thing, another concept that I want to talk about.
Okay.
I love this is one of the things that I think makes it special. I really, really love how Sully is handicapped in the real world, and then he goes into a fully capable Navi body.
I do like that. That's a really good scene to see him just run when he gets in his Navi body
Yeah,
for the first time. I found myself actually like smiling at the TV with that. I was like, wow, he's having fun.
he's not just learning how to be a Navi. He's getting to use his legs again, which is awesome.
After so long, yeah. That's such a heartwarming scene too. When he's putting his feet in the dirt.
Yeah, because he's like, I can feel it.
Yeah. Oh, that is such a great thing to put his character with. Like that's something that I wouldn't even think of if I had to be like in the screenwriter's room and be like, this is Jake Sully, ex-Marine or whatever. And James Cameron's like, let's put him in a wheelchair. It gives him like another character trait, but also like it I feel like that's another driving force to why he falls in love with his own like Navi body. Why he enjoys being a Navi more than he enjoys being a
Yeah,
human.
and this is it. This is what I want to ask you because there's a lot going on here. First of all, just how he can appreciate being a Navi, on top of just seeing how beautiful Pandora is and falling in love with Neytiri and all that. It's also, I was comparing it to using VR or even like Inception, where the world that you
Oh,
visit is so much more desirable. There's so much more going
than the one
on,
you're living
yeah, than
in.
the one you're living in. And I feel like that's a whole conversation right there. Like one of my favorite scenes was when he got lost in the forest of Pandora, and the first time he meets Neytiri, and then Grace is she's on the helicopter. They're doing like a quick search and rescue, and they're like, "Hey, we're just gonna have to come back tomorrow morning. It's getting late. We're not supposed to be out." And she says he's not gonna make it till tomorrow. And then that's when he's like learning the forest, and then you kind of get
Yeah.
lost in Pandora. He goes in the hammock, and then it's like beautiful nature, bright,
Pandora is so beautiful. Oh
and
my
then the
gosh.
contrast when he opens up, and then it's like he can't walk again, and then it's like a military base.
You even notice how, like, the movie adjusts the way that the way the
Vibrancy.
movie is shot. Not just the vibrancy, but even, like, I feel like when he's a Navi, we get the sweeping shots, the music is inspiring and magical, and we get, like, even better the way that the camera holds on their faces and the way the story is told, and then we go from there to, like, human world, and it's, like, still shots. It's,
That's a
like,
good point.
an to where it's dull, like, it's dull. Even, like, yeah, the vibrancy, the color goes down, but even the camera is like we get these very still shots, and there's I think like there's like 3 or 4 cameras in that little trailer or whatever whenever he's in it, but it's just like here's this, here's this, here's this, and so even like watching it myself, I'm like, all right, put him back in the tank, like let's go, let's get back to being a Navi.
Mm.
Even the viewer wants him to go back, and you can tell he's itching to go back.
I loved it. I love that scene where they find him, and he's like, "You won't believe where I'm at." He's able to wake up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's such a good scene. Even the look on his face that you won't believe where I'm at. I I love that they're nocturnal. Like that's such a great detail too for the story because he spends the day with the humans and the night with the Navi.
That's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing that I was thinking about. Like, is he getting sleep? Is he resting when he's a Navi?
Yeah, because his body is asleep. It's maybe his brain is not getting the full rest that it
Yeah, I don't
needs.
think he's fully resting because even Grace was warning him, like, "Oh, you were there for 16 hours. I forgot what day or whatever."
Yeah. She was like, "You need actual rest, like, your brain needs to rest," because his body is most definitely resting, and so he's probably waking up with his body fine, but your mind is still tired.
Yeah, it's like when you have a dream that before you got to go to school or something, and then you dreamt that you woke up, you brushed your teeth, took a shower, got ready, and then you're out the door, but then you woke up and you didn't do any of it, and you're already
Then you
tired.
have to do all of
Yeah, then you got to do it again. We've all been there, right,
it.
guys?
I did have dreams like that, yeah, when I was in college. I dreamed that I was stressed out about a test, and so I dreamed that I was going through my morning routine, like, "Oh, I gotta go take my test," and then I woke up, and I was like,
You got to start all
"Ah,
over again.
it was only just a
For
dream."
some stressful jobs, I had nightmares of doing my job,
Oh my
and then I woke
gosh.
up and I'm like, I got to go back to work again. I just did it.
Oh.
But anyway, yeah, it's I also feel like the length benefits this movie because there's a lot of reasons, but the one that I'm bringing up now is I like that you spent so much time in Pandora that you get swept up and lost in it. And then when he
Yeah.
wakes up, he's like, whoa, hold on. This is real life. This is the real world. This is his real body. And
Mhm.
what do you think about that? What do you think about him? Like, this is a little different from like a fake reality because that's the Navi are
It's real.
real. That body is real. But it is a little bit like, hey, this is the original body you were born in. This is a life you've lived. And he really did have to choose because in the Navi world, he found love. He found a new home. He fell in love with the world around him, and he basically had to choose. What do you think about that? I don't know what you want to call it. Dilemma, morality.
Yeah, like a fork in the road kinda thing. I'm reminded of the movie Brave where it's like, "If you had the chance to change your fate, would you?"
You've quoted that.
And he
That's a
did.
movie I haven't seen.
But I've said that quote many times, yeah. He had the
Yeah,
chance to change his whole fate, and he did.
and I didn't realize until the colonel said it. He said, "We're going to give you your legs back," or however you're saying it. We're going to get your legs
Yeah,
again.
yeah, like, I was kinda confused on that, but how did he say it? Like, they're gonna reroute him or something?
I don't know, but I just remember like, oh yeah, the beginning. They're in a cyberpunk world. He could have had legs for a while now. I guess he just needed the money.
He said, yeah, his, like, medical care left him in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
But I was thinking, if you're gonna put him in the Avatar program. Why didn't you give him his legs already? We're sending this guy in a wheelchair to Pandora, and we're not gonna give him legs?
They wanted the carrot on the stick to keep him there.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. You complete this mission, you get your legs back. It's
Yeah.
a little messed up, but especially because he's a vet, too. It's like,
I
take care
mean,
of
the
our
Cardinal said
veterans,
the same. That was
people.
the same deal on both sides. Yeah.
Take care of our vets. Come on.
I don't know what it's like in 2054. Maybe it's a little different now.
I only know what it's like in 2077, where Keanu runs it all.
Oh no,
Oh, no, no, no,
it's a
no,
rough
no.
year.
But
2077.
I don't want to get like too much into the philosophy of like, this is the body you're born in, you should make the most out of it, because this is like a fictional future. If I had the option, if I was in his shoes, I would have made the same choice.
You would have been a Navi.
I would have been a Navi. Yeah. If I was in his shoes, I would have made the
Are
same
you
choice.
sure? I'm gonna bring up some points.
Oh,
So you're gonna praise Awa.
if I, oh, you went straight for the gut with oh man, I didn't even think of that. I was thinking more of like, what does this world have to offer me?
What is this
He was
world? Wow.
he was in a let me finish. He was in a wheelchair. He had no family, no real friends. He was kind of an
He had a
outcast in his
bar he could hang
culture.
out in. You could
All of
drink.
a sudden, he goes and he has legs. He finds love. He's welcomed by the tribe, and he's loving everything about being a Navi. Like if I was in those shoes, sure, but maybe not about praising Awa.
That's it's very.
Is God canon? Is God canon in
I
in
was trying to think.
Avatar?
Yeah, did they ever say like "thank God"
They,
or
they never say Jesus
they
Christ.
do not say Jesus at all. I was listening out for that.
I was thinking about it because you know how like God's real name is Yahweh. Do you think that
Yes,
Awa is
yes,
supposed to be a play on
yes,
that?
yes, yes. I do
I
think
was thinking
so.
about that. I was like, they're
I
doing that
think
on
it sounded
purpose.
very close. Yeah, something like that.
They definitely like went into a word scrambler and typed it in and went, that makes sense.
It's so interesting because that's why I love this movie. There's so much you could talk about. It's they're finding an alien planet. They could research so many things. Another thing they find is a new religion that they're all participating in, and that's working for them. You know the whatever they're called, the little dandelion flying things, and
Mm-hmm. What are they called? Like something of Awa, but yeah, Natiri said that they're like little good spirits.
yeah, and we're like in our world, we're not even done discovering everything on Earth and in space, especially space.
We haven't even discovered our oceans. Our oceans are 70% unexplored. You think about
James
that?
Cameron knows more about our oceans than we do.
That's why he can make Pandora.
I remember I read it a while ago, but yeah, he just does a lot of deep sea diving, and that's why he's
That's
inspired to
why
make
it's
these
called
movies. The Way of
the whole
Water.
reason he made Avatar was so he can make Avatar
Yeah, he
2.
needs the money to just keep on deep sea diving.
Exactly. He's like, this is for research. And 20th Century Fox is like, okay, sign the check.
This is all
He
for the
made
movie, so it's
Titanic.
a tax write off as well.
It's put it on the business credit card.
I want to bring up because this is what this makes me think about. You know Neil deGrasse Tyson, right?
Yes.
Do you remember when he was on the Joe Rogan podcast?
I do, yeah.
You probably came across a conversation where they were talking about aliens and if they're real and what would happen if they discovered us. Neil
Hmm.
was saying that if they were smart enough to make it to Earth, have the technology to make it to Earth, that means they've discovered and can harness the power of light travel, the speed of light, traveling at the speed of light, and technology far beyond that. So if they made it to us first, that means they wouldn't even be interested in us. That we'll just look like ants.
Primitive.
Yeah, ants on a road, like not even worth their time, boring or whatever. And then
Hmm.
Joe came back at that pretty hard, saying like, no, we're very, very interesting because we have governments. We vote for our governments. We do creative things. There's even like murder and crime, and we've created the internet, and there's so many things that we're doing. We're traveling outside of Earth. Like we would be an interesting species to research. And I thought about that watching this movie. It's like they landed on a whole new planet, and these guys have a whole different way of living, of treating each other, of speaking. That's another cool thing. They learned a whole new language, and they're teaching them English too. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like I'm getting lost in my own words. I'm going to slow down because I don't know how long I was talking. But
This is the Ocean's 8 all over again. I'm enjoying it. I'm so glad that you're leading this episode. I get to lean back and put my hands above my head and be like, mm-hmm,
yeah, that's how I
mm-hmm,
always record these episodes. I'm leaning back with
mm-hmm,
my hands behind my head.
with your feet up on your desk. This is a good episode. I'm
It
loving it.
was. It was a good episode. You're right. But I just love those ideas. I love those ideas. I think this movie could truly be considered an epic. I think it falls in that category where it's just like,
Interesting. You know what? I mean, I guess you're right. If it's like 3 hours and it made that much money, it's definitely an epic.
right? I think it's just like the scale of what's possible in the universe.
I love how much they populated Pandora. They had all these different animals and even like different flying. It didn't even occur to me that there could be other flying creatures until Toruk Makto came and swooped in, and I was like, "Whoa!"
You remember those names? I don't. Was that the big one?
Yeah, that's the
The
big
big.
one. The Ikan is the little one, and Toruk Makto is the big
Okay.
one.
Yeah, that was
I like
awesome.
all the names. I love the fake language that they had going on. I like the inflections in their voice, how much they put a lot of thought into the language and making them a totally different species. But I was thinking, can you imagine? You're not just going into a body that's like a human. He's got the tail neuron thing. He's got like a new. Can you imagine your brain? You're going into another body, but whereas we have our what is it? The five senses. Imagine you're going into something that has different mappings, different patterns, different ways of touch and feel, and like imagine if like your sense of smell was like 100 times better or whatever than what you're used to. And like I was thinking about that when he was when Neytiri was like showing him how to like track and how to hunt, because I was thinking like you're not just going into a different body, you're going into a different species. Can you all of the things that are new and sensation for you?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, look at their eyes, look at their ears. Like, how do they see differently? Do they hear differently? They're twice our size, bigger than twice our size. I was looking at
Mhm.
them when near the end of the movie, when all the bad guys got, they're like filing them away back to go to Earth or whatever. They're literally
Mhm.
standing like twice their size and even more.
They're
So they
huge.
got to be like 13 feet tall, 14 feet tall or something. Imagine that, getting used to a body that big.
I would love it. Oh, I want to be in a Navi.
Are you sure? Because I could bring up some points where.
You you shot me down the first time, and I'm even more flabbergasted that you have another shot. All right, shoot me
No, no,
down.
I'm just kidding.
Go ahead.
All right,
What? I want to know these
this one's
points.
specific to you.
Oh
Don't you just
no.
like hate nature or something? Like you don't like camping? You like AC?
You did crudely remind me of the beginning when Jake was a Navi human, like when he was first out with the other avatars, and there are like those lemurs, like those fur lemurs or
Uh huh.
something. And I remember looking at them and thinking, "Oh my god, they're frog lemurs. I hate it here. Let's go back." Like, I would rather go back to dying Earth than face frog lemurs.
Yeah, you would have to live with nature, with the
I
animals.
would. I'd have to be one with nature.
I don't know if Pandora has mosquitoes. Hopefully
I'm
not.
hoping that I think it also because like one of the reasons I hate nature, and I say that jokingly, I do love nature, just not when I'm in it.
You love it
I don't
when
like
you can look at a picture of it on the internet
or outside a window,
from
like
from your AC.
from within the safety of my home, where there are no.
Right.
I went outside last night for 2 minutes just to like check on my dad, and I got bit by 4 mosquitoes. And I was
That's
like, I
not their
hate
fault,
it. I hate
Caroline. That's
it.
your
I hate
fault.
it. Yes, it
That's
is.
your
It's their
fault.
fault. Oh my God. No, it's not. I have like a big one on my knee. I can't stand it. So,
They're just doing their thing.
But I'm thinking, also it's because like I'm hypersensitivity. Like I have a very sensitive to touch. So that could be a thing. Like I feel just even if I feel one bug on my arm, I'm uncomfortable. I'm like, no, 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 no. But I'm hoping, my hope is that if I were to go into a Navi body, that would go away. I would be comfortable because that body is made to live in nature, with nature.
You're laughing because
I know my body is too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. All right, I get you. I mean, Pandora's very beautiful.
Pandora is so pretty.
What about those Hallelujah Mountains, huh?
Those Honolulu mountains are gorgeous. I want. I saw that and I was like, that's got to be a ride, right? Like that's got to be at Pandora. Isn't that at like
It
Disney?
is.
They have like
It
a
is, and I've
Pandora.
never been there yet. I have not been to
I'm gonna
Pandora
look at pictures. Disney, Pandora. No, I don't mean the jewelry store. Disneyland.
World.
It's a
We have
Disneyland,
Disney
right?
World.
It's Pandora Park. Oh, ho, ho. How did they do that?
It's a magical place, Caroline.
Tone, check this out. This is a real. Did I not copy this photo? Come on. It's too big. Tony, they have like the Hallelujah Mountains. Just
Whoa.
there. Just at the park.
Disney is bringing real magic now? Or you think they got unobtainium?
They found it. They destroyed Pandora just to put it in their
They
park.
were describing unobtainium a little bit, and I should have watched it with subtitles, but they were saying that.
You
No,
didn't?
I didn't.
That's
But
very uncharacteristic
they
of you.
were saying that it had to do with like the magnetism or whatever of unobtainium.
Oh.
Right? Do you remember that? Like that's the reason why it just
Yeah,
floats.
yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Disney found it. They found
Man,
unobtainium.
Disney could do anything. That's the power of money.
Yeah.
They're
that's
selling unobtainium right now. We don't even know
that's the power of the Imagineers.
it. That's awesome.
So wait, you haven't been to Pandora at Disney
I have
World
not been to
since it's
Pandora. Nope.
opened? That's surprising.
I want to go. I just haven't been there in a while.
I'm hoping to go next year. So
Look how it's just floating there, man.
yeah, you can be my chauffeur.
This is yeah. Like how did they?
How do they
This is
do
a
that?
marvel right here
How do you do
of
that?
engineering.
That can't be real rock, right? Also, do you want to describe what we're looking at
We're
for
looking
our?
at the Hallelujah Mountains in Disney World, Orlando, Florida.
We are looking at floating rock formations, copying the Hallelujah Mountains from the movie Avatar, but in Orlando,
With
Florida, Disney World.
tourists walking underneath it. I can kind of see how they did it. It's probably very light. It's got to be like some sort of
Yeah, like
styrofoam
plastic.
material. I don't know, or
Yeah,
plastic. Yeah,
yeah.
but it looks very, very good.
That looks amazing. That looks really amazing. I love the vines because you know that those are probably like the structure that's
Exactly,
keeping it
like
up.
wiring and cables and
And that's probably like, steel,
yeah,
metal, like keeping those
vibranium.
formations up. But yeah,
If
vibranium.
Disney has
But on the
unobtainium, they definitely have vibranium.
oh, Disney has all the vibranium.
That's cool. I'll see it soon enough. All right, let's talk about the idea. I love, like you said, it's so simple. It's like they're bad. They just want money. They want, they want to tear everything down just to sell unobtainium. But I like the idea of what they were trying to do. They're like, we've tried everything. We were trying to trade them medicine. We were trying to give them education, even like infrastructure. He was saying like roads and stuff. And they don't want any of it. I find that very interesting because it's like they're satisfied. They're satisfied. They have what they need. And it's complete polar opposites on Earth. They made it. you know,
It feels like it's never
yeah, it's
enough.
like a utopia, cyberpunk towers of steel and metal and concrete, and here is just completely green and just nature.
You think that's one of the intended slash unintended messages that James Cameron is putting in his movie?
I think that's a clear one. It's like the
Yeah.
nature side is the good side that you're rooting for.
But I think that there's also another deeper layer to that, whereas it's very easy to just write it off as like nature versus technology or nature like peace versus guns or whatever, like whatever's on the face value. But if I stop, like I was thinking about this, I was thinking after the movie, when, or at least like during the scene when they were destroying the tree, I thought, could that really happen? And then I thought about like all the times that if you look in history where like a group of people have been displaced because of like you have like manifest destiny in US history where they forced out all the Native Americans just to like build railroads and cities and whatever. And so like that has happened. And but like before that thought crossed my mind, I was thinking like there's no way greed could be so strong that it would justify doing something like this. Like this is way out of hand. Like this is too far. And then that's when I remembered that has happened in history before. But I think that there is like when I start thinking about it, and you think about, yeah, like what you just said, like the Navi are totally fine. Like they don't want anything, they're content. But with humans, it's always like we need to be better, we need more, we need more money, more power, more knowledge, even if that means like to study, we need more of that unobtainium because we need to study it and better ourselves, better our technology. Think about it, they've already figured out how to like give people their limbs back, but yet they're still like destroying other places to gain more things. It's like, don't you think that's enough? That's like, if we get the cure to cancer, shouldn't that just end all medicine right there? Shouldn't that like be the goal? Why do we need to go more and more and more?
Yeah, I think it's how you said that they should be good. They should be satisfied. But you said earlier, they're just greedy. They're it's just for more money. They don't want to research. The research division wants to research unobtainium and everything around Pandora. But, these guys in charge are just like, it's like this many millions per kilo, so
Hmm.
we want money. That's it. But
This is another thing Cameron's doing, so we like the Navi even more. It's like, I don't want to be a greedy, stinky human. I want to be a humble, nature loving Navi.
yeah, that's a good point. If he wanted to make it more nuanced, he could have made both. It could have been a
It could have
movie
been like,
where you're
yeah, like,
divided. It's like, oh, but that's true. They do need to do this, or they could have made it a little bit more of a gray area.
yeah, if you show like, there's children on Earth dying or something, so they need to do this, then it's like,
And this
oh, whoa,
natural
whoa.
resource is something that can help them.
Yeah, like if he wanted to make it to where you're like, yeah, we got to do it, but no, it was just corporate greed.
Yeah, and I don't know. Will the movie be better or worse for it? I don't know.
I think it's better because it's a lot like simple story.
Yeah,
It's fine that because then like yeah that makes the black and white gray, and sometimes it's you enjoy a movie more when it's black and white
yeah. We don't want to think
in the
too
morality
much. It
meter.
needs to be for a
We
general
don't want
audience.
to think too much, we want to sit, we want to enjoy our popcorn, and we want to watch a movie.
Yeah, but you know what it did make me think of?
What?
If this was a real Pandora,
Oh, uh-huh.
we are at the point where we could travel over there,
If AWA was
and if
real.
Aval was real, I think they can't stand a chance, Caroline. We got nukes. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, there's no way we would
I
have
mean,
lost.
they obviously. I mean, they didn't. Like, they couldn't even stand up to some bulldozers. Of course, we're gonna smoke them.
But it just
Come
really
on.
made me think. Like, obviously, you can make the comparisons. Like,
It was an underdog fight, even with Jake Sully.
you can make the yeah, but he's a chosen one. But
AWA's chosen one.
yeah, but you can make the comparisons of like, we'll stop at in the real world. What would it be like, oil or whatever, or land,
I
whatever
mean,
it is.
yeah, you said all like the historical reasons. Yeah.
So it just, I don't know. It just reinforces that, like, man, we could take anything we want.
Okay, slow
You know
down
what I
there.
mean?
let's let's back it
Guns
up
are
a little bit there.
unstoppable.
What's that character's name? All right, listen here, Commander.
We're shooting arrows at tanks. Nah, one nuke would have been enough. Drop it on the.
Oh my gosh. Now you're sounding like the council.
Drop it on the Tree of Souls. Done deal. Just pick up the unobtainium. You'll be rich forever.
Oh my gosh. See a big crater in Pandora.
Yeah. Pandora will be completely. Well, no, I'll take more nukes than that. I don't know what's the size of Pandora, but
It was huge. Didn't you see like the opening of the movie in comparison to Earth?
yeah, was that Pandora like the bigger?
The blue planet? Yeah.
Okay, all right, I got you. But yeah, it was just like, all right, if this was real, we would have won easily, like very easily. You didn't even need like walking mechs on the ground. Just like drop nukes on them from.
Come look at this. Look at that size comparison.
Wait, but
That's a shot from the
I
moon.
know, I know. I actually thought they were trying to show us that Pandora looked similar to Earth. I thought that was supposed to be Pandora because
No,
behind
Pandora is the big blue planet, right?
it should be, yeah, it should be. But
It should be.
but all right, hold on, James Cameron, because of the year's 2154,
Uh
the
huh.
universe is actually expanding, so planets should be further away from us. There's no way that Pandora would look that close to us, and it wouldn't even be in the Milky Way galaxy.
I don't think James Cameron consulted Neil deGrasse Tyson when he
I
wrote
think
this
this
movie.
Earth-looking planet is supposed to be Pandora.
No, 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 no. The Earth planet is Earth.
It doesn't look like
Why
Earth
wouldn't he
though.
show it?
It looks like Earth colors, but not Earth.
No, it looks like Earth. Look, there's Greece, and that's Italy on the right, and then that big continent in the middle. That's got to be um the what's it called? Like the
Say it.
I
Say
can't
it.
I can't remember the name of the but like that's like where India is and
Why is it so close though?
like
Why is Pandora so close to us?
I don't know.
All right, James, let's figure this out.
But isn't there like a portal like they show at the beginning? You know, they show like a oh no, no, that's just the camera panning. But it's got to be I don't know. Let's see. Did
You're
anybody
really
ever
trying to
ask
make this work.
did anybody ever ask this question as to how it got close to Earth?
And look how many moons or whatever it has around it.
Oh,
What?
Tony, I've got to eat my words.
What I tell
You're
you?
right.
What I tell you?
That
I
that
know
is
my
Pandora.
sci-fi. Come on.
That is Pandora.
Come on. Come on. And also when you're on Pandora, remember it kind of looks like on some Star Wars planets where you like see multiple like you saw multiple planets from Pandora in the skylight and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I would say it's about the size of Earth.
It definitely looks the size of Earth. That blue planet though, what, that's got to be what their moon, their sun? I don't know. It's like Saturn.
Yeah. So what could we say about like 10 nukes should do
Back on the important subject.
it?
How do we destroy this planet? One Death Star. That's all you need.
Yeah, one death. You're right, one Death Star. But anyway, all right. Let's lighten the mood here a little bit. I have a question for you.
Okay.
All right. Did Jake Sully catfish Neytiri?
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
You know exactly what I mean.
I no further explanation. I know exactly what you mean. Send me a picture of you holding today's newspaper and a spoon.
How do you find a newspaper nowadays?
I know, I was thinking about that. I was like, you gotta go to the
I'm
gas
gonna call you
station,
on
pick up a
FaceTime.
newspaper.
Just make sure you're in a
I'm gonna
brightly lit
FaceTime
room.
you, and I want to see you in your room tonight.
Set up your phone on a tripod. I need to see a full body.
Neytiri, I promise, I'm Navi.
Neytiri, you know I see you, right?
Neytiri, it's me. Why did you unmatch me?
So that's the equivalent of, you're meeting up with your what's it called?
Significant other, crush,
You're meeting up with
girl,
your
what?
Christian mingle date, right?
Okay, continue. I like where this is going. You're meeting with your upward
You're
date.
meeting up at the coffee shop, right? and,
Okay,
and
yes. As
then
all Christians go for dates, yes, the coffee shop.
and then when you walk up to him, his profile said 6'5".
Oh
But when you see
no.
him, you look down, and
Oh
he looks
no.
up and he says, "I see you," which is a line you guys shared through text. What do you do?
You walk out. He's a whole place liar. Flags with the devil. Shouldn't even be on Christian Mingle.
He's a short wolf in tall sheep clothing.
He's wearing stilts. A sheep. Yeah, I would make like a tree and leaf.
That's basically what happened, though. Neytiri saw that Jake Sully's a short king because everyone's a
She
short
saw
king
that.
to her.
Oh, you've never seen Claudia with a chance of meatballs.
No.
Okay, okay. Let me see if I can find this clip, and maybe it's just short enough that I can send it to
Okay.
you. This is what happened to Neytiri when she met Jake. Meatballs, Sam, glasses. Oh yes, 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 yes. Let me see if I can find the timestamp so you can find it real quick. Okay, okay. Here we go. Hang on, hang on. Okay, everybody. If you've seen Cloudy with a Chance of
They
Meatballs,
already know the
they
comparison.
already
Okay.
know, but I'm explaining to them, and then I'll explain to you. There's a character named Sam. She's a reporter. Flint is a like mad scientist. As you can tell, he's pretty nerdy looking, skinny, crazy hair. Now Sam has just revealed to Flint that she needs glasses to see, and so he puts the glasses on her. And if you notice the way he looks before in her non-glasses, you can see a glimpse
Yeah,
of
I
it.
see right now.
He's got a strong jawline, he's got nice hair, and then he puts the glasses on and it's regular Flint. And she's like, "Whoa."
Let me see. I'm watching it right now. Oh my gosh, it's funny. He looked like a stud before.
Yeah.
That was a
That's
strong jaw.
that was Neytiri seeing Jake.
His hair even looks shorter and combed and like not
Yeah,
very
yeah.
cool.
He looks like a total Chad. That's what happened to poor Neytiri. But you know what though? Like, yeah, she was catfished, but I mean that is him. It is like his avatar,
That's his
and
brother's avatar.
that's true. But I like how they said that looks like you, man.
Yeah.
Like that's you.
That was a good moment. Yeah, when he said it looks just like him. He said, it looks just like
Mm,
you.
that's like you. I love that. Although that does make me think that's a little weird. Like, imagine if you were to take over the body that was intended for your brother. Hmm.
I don't think it's
I
that weird because it's like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
it's
You're
an
right. Because
avatar.
it's an avatar,
Mm.
but it is supposed to like look like them a little bit, in the face.
Yeah.
So, but it does look like him. Like the mocap, like the CG does look like the actor. They didn't like mocap another actor for the
Oh
appearance of Jake
yeah. I
Sully.
feel like that's another thing. We're not really talking about it because I feel like it goes without saying. But obviously, this movie is so beautiful. It holds up. The CGI is for
Next
2009.
level. It's
Just think about
amazing.
that.
CGI today doesn't even look that
Yeah. Have
good.
you seen Thor: Love and Thunder, Caroline?
I have, and I hated it. But
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna be real. Like, MCU didn't look that good compared to this. Like, don't get me
No,
wrong.
I was thinking about it, and
MCU looks good. It looks fine, but Avatar still looks
no,
better.
hold on,
And that was
Caroline, hold on. Iron Man came out in
oh,
2008. Think about how good that suit
I'm not
looks.
thinking about Iron Man. I'm talking about
2008, a
like
year before Avatar came out.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like um how do I put it? Like Guardians and like this is like I'm saying they don't look bad. They look good. But Avatar in its 2009 state still looks better than like the CG in Infinity War.
Oh, you mean okay? So when it comes to like environment,
The
well, hold
what
on,
I
we got
know is
Thanos in
CG. What I
Infinity
know
War.
is no. Look, I'm not
Hold
saying he
on,
looks
Carol. I'm not
bad.
liking this
I'm not
conversation. I'm
saying
not
he looks
liking
bad.
this
I'm
conversation.
not saying he looks bad. He looks good. I know he's there. The actors know he's there. It looks like they're. I'm not saying it looks bad, but Avatar looks better than them, and it's an older movie.
I know what you mean.
Oh, come on. After you riled me up.
No, I know what you mean. When you said Guardians, I knew what you meant because Guardians has a lot of planets and stuff that they have the creative liberty to just make new environments
Get
and
a little
aliens and
wacky
stuff.
with it,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it did not look like Avatar.
Avatar still looks
I
good.
think the only thing, yeah, because there's a lot of scenes in Avatar where I was thinking, there's literally nothing real here, and all of it looks real,
It looks
right?
amazing. Yeah, I was drawn in, but I knew it, and for a while that wasn't even in my mind. It wasn't until I think that I paused it to like go and do something real quick. I was thinking about it and I was like, nothing's real. Like Pandora doesn't really exist. So what
From
I'm
what we
looking at
know
is all
so
fake.
far, we're limited by the technology of our time.
Uh-huh, okay, all right. But it looked beautiful. It looked I was drawn into the atmosphere, the world, everything. I love that they even made the factor that they can't breathe that air. There's no oxygen.
I like that
They have to
too.
wear
I'm
these.
glad you remembered
I
that.
love those details like that. And to go kind of, I know we what's it called? We walked a mile to get next door, but I it was a very heartwarming. I felt my heart melt and gush when Neytiri meets Jake for the first time, like the real Jake. I want the real Jake
Yeah,
Sully. That was such a heartwarming scene when she puts the oxygen mask on him and I melted. That was so cute.
it is the way she cared for him. There's a
It's
lot of
so
good moments like that,
sweet.
and again, I think the runtime is what helps. I think the
You're right.
runtime is what helps Lord of the Rings. I feel like the more time you spend on the little things, on Sully learning how to fly, earning his, the name, but his creature, his whatever.
Taruk Makto.
Yeah, all of that benefits the movie so much because you spent just as much
Yep.
time with him in Pandora and getting to know everyone, and that's one of them. And then once it got to that scene, it was so crazy to see how the two worlds finally came together. She saw the
Mhm.
real Jake Sully, and
And then that
combined with the
I see
technology,
you.
and yeah, I see you.
Ah. Oh. You need to chalk that up to there with another romantic line like the vision, the I just feel you, and then I see
Yeah,
you. The say I love you without saying I love you.
James did it first. Let's
James
give
did it
him that.
first. But you know what? I did have to do a double take when he was fighting. What? How do you pronounce that guy's name? He's like a general or
He's a
colonel or whatever.
colonel. I don't remember
The
his
cur-
name
what,
actually.
what do they call him? The colonel. When he was fighting the colonel, towards the end when they're in front of the lab, and the colonel says, "How does it feel to betray your own race?" And I started thinking about it. Isn't it a species?
Yeah, yeah.
When he said like betray your own race, I thought he's betraying all the whites. not not a not the other minorities. He's betraying all
I think
whites.
he's using it interchangeably because haven't we said the alien
Yeah,
race before? A new,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
we discover a new
I
alien
I
race
just
or
thought
something.
like James Cameron might need to get his script proofread a little bit for Avatar 2.
Maybe he's done it. We'll see.
But when he said, "How does it feel to betray your own race?" I did a little like that blinking gif of like,
Yeah.
isn't it a species? I feel like it's a species.
Is it too late to edit this out?
But but I do like I don't know why I liked that he just kind of hissed at him in Navi, like not even dignifying it with a response. He's like, "Yeah, I'm a Navi now."
Yeah, I like the hissing. I like when Neytiri was doing it too because
It's such a cool detail when they do it. It looks so
it
cool.
basically shows that she will never back down and she will go down fighting if she's gonna die. Especially
Mhm.
when Sully was telling her retreat, retreat, retreat. She was the last one with like
Mhm.
the army of mechs coming at her, and she was still
Yep.
loading up her bow, or the arrow on the bow, and it's just like she's not giving up. She is a losing battle, but she has to go down fighting. And then that's when Awa shows up. She's like, "Awa, I heard you."
That was such a great scene. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. This is like we're jumping around as usual, but I just remembered it and I don't want to forget it. I love the way it ends. Just the last shot is the poster that we know it
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
I love that. Or like, because anytime you see Avatar in like Disney Plus, it's just that Navi face. It's just the face. And I love that the way it ended was the zoom in on him and his eyes opening up. That was so cool to me. I was like, oh, I gotta rewind that part.
Ending a movie is always interesting to me because I always think like, how are they gonna end it now? Like the big battle happened. Now how are they gonna end it? The big fight happened. How are they gonna end it? They're married now. Now how are they gonna end it? That's
Yeah.
just a side thing, not a. But yeah, just like I like this ending too. The opening the
I love that
eyes.
you just reminded me they totally eloped. they they totally just got married without
Oh yeah,
any. It's so interesting too, and I really liked it because that wasn't a conflict that was as big as I think other movies would have made it to be. Like when you look at it, like Ferngully, Pocahontas, yada
it
yada, all
had
these
more
other movies that
pressing
are like,
matters.
well, like the thing is in those movies, though there are pressing matters in the story, but the romance is like another wrench thrown in where it's like we can't be together, but we want to, like Romeo and Juliet. For them, I like that they kind of like that was a different take on that romance where it's like, no, we're gonna get married, like we're just gonna do it. And then even when her mom is like getting mad at her, like you married him, and she's like, it's done,
Yeah,
like we did
in
it,
front of
you can't
Awa,
undo it.
she said.
Yeah. She's like, it's done. That's it. And I was like, yeah, girl, tell him.
Yeah, she was turning red.
She was she was turning blue.
Yeah, she turned blue.
That does make the lie reveal storyline for me a little bit like it makes me dislike it a little bit more in this movie. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I like the movie. I just didn't like the way the liar reveal plot line was executed. I kind of wished, like, if you're doing all of these things, I kind of wish James Cameron had him tell Neytiri before they got married something, but it just kind of happens.
It was more of a betrayal that way.
It was, yeah, you're right. It's a nitpicky. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I just wish the order of events was a little bit different. However, I'm still very satisfied with how it worked out, and we got the same outcome either way.
I know what you mean. I would prefer not to see it altogether, but it's just in so many movies that I just glaze over it. It's not even a big deal. It's just
Mm,
like, all right, it's gonna happen. They're gonna have to say it at some point. Life goes on.
mm-hmm. Life goes on.
But I was gonna say, is there anything else that we missed about this movie? Because I feel like I think we had a good conversation, and maybe. Well, I don't want you to spoil anything, but I'm thinking then we could kind of think about what's gonna happen in the sequel because I have no idea.
I just have two things. One, why is it that when Grace got shot and they didn't realize it until her hand comes away bloody, made me think, but it hurts to get shot, doesn't it? So why? And this is not just in this movie, this happens everywhere because I've seen that, like where they pull their hand away and it's bloody. Why don't they yelp in pain when they get shot in
Adrenaline.
movies? Okay.
Adrenaline.
Okay.
I could totally believe that a huge injury can occur on your body somewhere, broken bones or whatever, and you won't feel it until after the fact.
Okay. The second one, now the music is done by my man James Horner, and I love him. But there were times in the movie where the music was not as good as I wanted
Which
it to
moment?
be. Where he met Neytiri, and then when Neytiri's telling him like, "You're like a baby," and then even later on, a lot of the times when he's with the Navi, the music I feel like could be a little bit better. And that's like the scenes where, don't get me wrong, when he's flying on the Econ, whoa, I loved it. I'm all in. I was leaning forward. But then like when he meets the parents and when he meets like when he's learning like how to like when they're sitting like in that big circle and everything, I feel like the music is a little lacking, just a little bit. And I kind of wish that they filled it with, and this is just a little nitpick, but for me, I would have liked to see maybe like some Navi music. You know how like later on, in like in Dune, uh, Hans Zimmer introduced like that like throat singing type music because he wanted to make it like this planet or they have their own music. I would have liked if we would have seen a little bit of creativity in the music department here, where it's like, what kind of music do the Navi listen to? You know, do they like dance or things like that? And then make like a differentiation. So like whenever you're in the human world, you hear like regular orchestra or like like you know the strings where you're just hearing it like what you typically hear in film. But then when you go to the Navi, it's like this like I don't know flutes or violin, something a little bit more magical. So you're able to differ. Maybe I wasn't maybe there is there and I just wasn't it wasn't as present as I wanted it to
I
be,
felt like
but
there was an attempt at that to make it sound like it was from Pandora, like rhythms
mhm.
of Pandora. But I agree with you for only one moment, and we spoke about it already. I think the music was great all throughout. But the one moment was when Neytiri, it was when she said, "Awa heard you," and then the big rhinos come charging out. I feel like
Mhm.
that song
Should
could
have
have been a
been
lot more momentous and grand.
oh yeah. I
They
thought
needed
that
like
too.
a bum 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 bum, like something strong.
Something like that. Like yeah, like something just present and there cuz you're just really hearing animals like making
No,
noises.
there
If
was
you
a
hear
song
like
there, but it just sounded like kind of cheery and not the
yeah,
mood of what was going on of a war.
I feel like the music needed to be the volume needed to be vamped up a little bit cuz I was hearing more of the noises of the people and the animals than I was of the orchestra, and I wanted to hear the orchestra. Maybe like a little volume mixing adjustment there. But Avatar 2, we're getting a different composer,
Oh,
and I'm looking at where is it? You know, he's made good stuff. His name is Simon Franklin, and he's where is it? Where is his works? He's done like the Magnificent Seven. He did the James Bond films, Skyfall and Spectre. He did do the Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield, but you know,
wait, really?
he
I
did
thought that was Hans Zimmer.
the Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh,
That's
no, that was
James.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 was Hans Zimmer.
Wait, he did the Amazing Spider-Man was James Horner. So how? Oh, he's credited.
Oh,
He worked on it, arranging the music. Interesting. He doesn't have like a. So he's collabed with other composers on these works, but he's never done it. Interesting.
we'll see.
He's been co-composing with James Horner, and now he's going to do Avatar 2 through 5.
James has a lot of trust in this guy.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Do you know about The Way of Water? Do you know the plot? Does the trailer give away any plot details?
Nope.
No? Okay.
I think I do know a little bit about the plot. I'm not going to tell you because I want you to go in blind, but it's not enough to warrant knowing the plot of a 3-hour film.
Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe we could start predicting what's gonna happen. No, I don't even want to risk it. I really don't want to know what this movie's about.
I know some things though, some things that are definitely considered spoilers to you.
Okay. Anything is a spoiler to me.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, this is some real spoiler territory.
Well, you got leaked or they just show too much?
No, no, I just know, like from reading Wikipedia and doing the
Oh,
research
okay.
already, like I know. I'm like, okay. I don't know the
All
movie,
right.
like obviously, but the little tidbits that I know are like for you, real spoiler territory.
Okay. Well, I've been hearing good things about it already. People have seen it early.
Oh,
I've heard pretty good things, and I'm happy about it.
okay. All right. I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. I was more excited for the experience of going to the movies with everybody than I was the actual movie, but my opinion has
And now you're
changed
gonna
since
watch the
yesterday.
movie and be invested,
Now I'm going to watch the movie and I'm not going to talk.
and you're
That's
not,
Ashley. Sorry, girl.
and you're not gonna be playing Genshin Impact
I
next month.
don't watch Genshin in the theater.
I'll make
No.
sure of it.
Uh-huh.
All right. I think that's it.
That's all I have to say. I'm so glad that you let this episode. You did a good job.
Now who's the therapist slash older parent slash?
We take turns on this podcast. The seat shifts quite.
There's no leading, Caroline. This is how a conversation works,
All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you're hearing us on your favorite podcasting platform and you're a new listener, maybe give us a follow, hit that bell icon so you can get notifications when we post. If you're a returning listener, give us an honest review. If you're hearing us on YouTube, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon for notifications.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We will be talking about Avatar: Way of Water, not next week because next week is Christmas, and we're gonna respect
Woo!
Christmas. That movie's a
Christmas,
surprise.
Christmas coming
I love never giving
down.
away the movie titles.
Christmas, I'm
Um,
watching it fall.
I'm getting confused
Christmas,
with Caroline's singing, but
lots
anyways,
of
thank you for
people
listening and goodbye.
around.